Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with my layout share, and I apologize for being this late. I'm recording this on, well, I'm going to publish it also, recording it and publishing it on Wednesday, and I normally would have done this on a Saturday or Sunday, or even Friday if I was actually really good. So I have 18 layouts here. I'm going to kind of quickly go through them so that you just kind of get an overview, and I'll let you know which ones have videos. I think this one does. I did this one for a load day 3 about assembly line. And I do have, it's called Crafter Math, and there is a video, and I'm kind of using a design that I borrowed from someone who used a cut file or a die cut of a zipper, and I actually had a real zipper around, so I used that. This was so much fun. Lots of flair and some buttons from BrambleFox, and then some real buttons from actual clothing. So this one was a special page. It was a load prompt was about a special gift or note, and this was a gift from my husband for it says sewing machine, etc. He was with Parkinson's. It was a little difficult for him to write, so he made many tries, and I know how difficult that was, and so I treasure it for that reason. And he was not able to get out and go shopping normally. Throughout our 40 years of marriage, around any gift-giving time, he would, say, okay, it's time for me to sneak out by myself. And he'd go go out shopping, and he wasn't able to do that, and kind of didn't want to buy the machine online in case it wasn't the right kind. So I treasure this. And I have a picture of him as he was on that Christmas Day. And I'm using some Vicky Bouton Warm Wishes. And there is a video on that one, and it's called Joy. And then Corn Maze Days. This one is with my Scrap Backwards kit, and the prompt was for mixed alphas. And there is not a video on this one. I used my Scrap Backwards kit, and I am not quite sure why there isn't a video. I think sometimes there isn't a video because I'll start a page or I'll know that I don't have the time to get through. And look, I've lost some letters. Here's the D that goes right there. And I've lost a big Z that went there. So I'll fix that. Anyway, sometimes I know that I'm not gonna have time to do it all the way through. Let's see if I can find that Z. If I can't find it there, I can find another one on here, I think. Yes. Luckily, I have my Scrap Backwards kit with me on my desk at all times. I think I put it like that. There we go. Come on. Okay. And this is some Doodlebug stuff, and just some various things that are in my Scrap Backwards kit. And you can see the entire kit reveal if you so desire. And that video is out there, and it's called Kit Reveal. Oh, there's the Z. And I'm going to put it back in here in case I need it later. And this photo is from a corn maze visit where James is holding Ava, and he's got his hand on top of Barrett's head, and Katie's back there, and she and Allie are pointing to the sign that says corn maze, enter. And it was such a fun day. I remember it like it was yesterday, and that's the point of scrapbooking, right? This is a Lisa Sikorsky sketch, and I'm not quite sure. This also was done, well, no, this wasn't with Scrap Backwards Kit. This is Paige Evans' garden shop, and it's load day 5, and it's called Handyman. And it's about someone in your family who was handy. This is with my Scrap Backwards kit, and these are Bella Boulevard supplies. This was for 30 Days of Sketches. This was the original sketch by Alicia Lawrence, and I used my bright fall colors in my Scrap Backwards kit, and there is a video, and it's called My Family. Let's see. This one is one I know there's a video because I did the brushing on of the numbers in the background before I started all this scripty shenanigans, and it's all about my penmanship, the story is. And so I had the little bit of this kind of previously cut apart acetate overlay, and I filled in the parts that the overlay didn't cover with a script that's not readable. So, and you have to watch the video almost. That's called You Do You, that video. This was one I did a while back, but I only published it this week. It's called Awesome, and it's the story of when I interviewed the Lovin' Spoonful and the Supremes, and this is the drummer for the Lovin' Spoonful trying on my round John Lennon glasses. So, and there is a video on that one. It's called Awesome. And then this one is for Mixed Media Mayhem, and this was the sketch I used. It was a Karen Leahy sketch. Her blog is Dolly's Dreamings at typepad.com, and her handle on Instagram is Scrap Dolly. And I did some stamping and some background. I mixed some crayons and then wet them with water to make that, and to also do the background here. And it's a photo of Ava wearing a rugby jersey that was given to her by her Welsh Auntie Sue. And this is called Sparkle on YouTube. These 2 pages were ones I did last month, or I started the early part of the month, or did with last month's kit. I forget really how that went. This first one is a lift of this one by Morag Cuts for BrambleFox, and I used my a page kit made from my Scrap Backwards kit from last month. Last month was all about beachy and travel stuff. This month is all about fall. And I finished it with these photos, And I added some more layers of embellishments on top of this tag, and I added these little, what I call puff balls, which are, I don't know what the real name is, but, so there, I made a video where I finished both of these pages, and I think it's called Let's Finish Some Pages. I think that's the title of the video. This one I didn't do too much other than add the photo and this flare and maybe something else, some other, maybe those butterflies were added too. So another beachy one done with a page kit from last month's Scrap Backwards kit. This one is one I don't think I made a video because I had made a video of this one and I was waiting for it to upload, and it was one of those days when the upload was just taking forever and ever. So I made this page while I was waiting. And it's a photo of Katie and her salon mates at the Hard Rock Cafe the night before the big hair show in New York City. And so I called it the Hard Rock Hair Gang. And I used this little frame because it reminded me of the ornate mirrors that are in the salon. And of course I have a ladybug because it's a Katie bug page. And I used alphas from the current Mind the Scrap kit there. That's the only thing that's, and then I used a couple things from the florals in the, I want to say Spectrum Sherbet. And let me glue that down because that's gonna misbehave before I get it into an album. And let's see, what else did I want to say about this? The rest of it is from my Scrap Backwards kit, my current Scrap Backwards kit. And this one is also, well, no, this one is from the, and I did that for Craft Plus, and this is another one for Craft Plus. They have a tic-tac-toe game going, and this is the board. And I'm trying to do as many combinations as possible throughout the month, so you'll see a lot of craft-based pages. This was also a lift of Emma M., who is Ms. Mind the Scrap, and I just kind of altered it a little bit, but I used my September Mind the Scrap kit. And a couple BrambleFox hearts and some Spiegel Mom Scrap sequins. So, and there is a video on that one. It finally did upload, and it was okay. So I'm thinking that's good. Then this one is a Scrap Squad lift. Let me get this covered up. I forget where I put the pin, but now I have a whole pin cushion full of pins that will work. So if I lose them or leave them loose on the table, they'll end up on the floor, and I'll either find them when I see a little glint of silver, you know, in the lighting, when the light shines on it on the floor, or I'll step on it. So, usually with bare feet. This is a very feminine, lovely page that was the Scrap Squad lift for last week, and I did a little bit more masculine page, and I used bits from my Scrap Backwards kit, and I went back and found a Pink Fresh alpha that was in the right color scheme. So it's just a fall is for football page, and I absolutely love that photo of Barrett. So that's what that was all about. And there is a video, and that one was called Fall is for Football. This one, the video is called Beauty. And then this one is also for Craft Plus, and there is a video, and it's called Go Wild, And the load prompt that day was about some good advice. And so what I've got here is go wild is one of the things that my mother used to say when she was trying to get us out of the house and get us to burn off some steam so that we would take our afternoon nap. And we were also to use buttons on the layout. So I have several buttons along with some rub-on leaves and some stenciled on leaves and some stenciled on paint for the circly bits, some flair here and here, and these adorable BrambleFox monkeys and the bananas and the hearts and the title, all for this crazy page of Ava acting goofy. There is like I said, there is a video. This one, there's also a video. This was my Scrap Backwards video and my Dottie About Flair or the Flair Hut design team page. And I love big polka dots or any circular shapes on pages, on pattern paper, because they're just begging to be adorned with flair. And I just went all out here. I didn't cover every single one. I kind of started with just a panel across here because I knew I'd have a lot of fussy cuts and ephemera down here. And I had a couple of pieces of ephemera that again from my Scrap Backwards kit that I just kind of placed up there. Just lots of fun. I even used one of the Days of the Month flair. I didn't order those, but they were in some extras that Adam had that I managed to steal when I was over at his place in June. So, and I just love that picture of my husband. Anyway, this one, I had a couple of people say that they hardly didn't recognize that it was me. This was the sketch from Brooklyn Rough for 30 Days of Sketches, and I stuck remarkably to the sketch. Who knew? And I used, because I was the Queen of Hearts here, this was about our favorite costume, and my favorite costume was when I dressed as the Queen of Hearts for the Mardi Gras ball. And my sister's wearing a clown costume that I had worn a few years before, and I love that picture of the two of us together. I need to put that picture of the two of us together up alongside a picture of the two of us together, like recently, like when I visited her just a couple weeks ago. And I used a lot of BrambleFox hearts and some Spiegelmom scrap sequins and some gems from my stash. And these 3 papers were from my Scrap Backwards kit, and this pale aqua is the reverse of this paper with the mandalas. And I actually really love this page because I love the memory. And there is a video, and it is called Love This. Then I have this one that I did yesterday. Very quickly, I knew I had a big day. I was going to be leaving to go to lunch to celebrate Allie's birthday, and when I came back later there, I had a bunch of stuff to do. So I had, the day before, I had cut this cut file as a way of testing, and I just did it on whatever piece of paper I had, and it happened to be orange, and I happened to choose pumpkin, so it worked out great. And I cut it just testing my Cameo because I haven't used it in a couple years, and I liked it, so I left it on my desk. So I came back and sat down and, okay, what am I going to do for load? And I tried to find some stuff that fit the prompt, and I was going to have to print a picture and do a bunch of stuff. And I had this photo already printed, and I had these pumpkins. So I pulled papers from my kit, and I had some sequins from a mix called Home Sweet Home. And it all kind of came together, and I loved it, so I submitted it as my load page without a video. And I just, I just put it out on Instagram and in my Facebook story. I love this page. I can't even tell you how much I love it. I love this photo of the kids. I filtered it to kind of pump up those colors so you'd see the pumpkins in there and the gourds along with the flowers. And those flowers are chrysanthemums, and this looked like a chrysanthemum to me, so I used it, and I got this idea. This is the paper that I cut the pumpkins from. And so I hated to throw it away, so I thought, well, how can I use it? And I said, well, maybe a strip up top. Maybe I'll just kind of tear this. So I tore it, and then I glued the whole thing back on there because I think that's kind of cool looking there. Not that anyone will ever see it. But this is my page I did today. Again, no video, and this isn't a real print of it. I just did a quickie print. This is for 30 days of sketches and the load prompt. The load prompt was about missed opportunities. So I used a picture, my senior picture from college, to talk about a decision I made when I was a senior in college and looked like that. I had accepted a fellowship to a prestigious university where I was going to bypass my master's and go straight for my PhD in math. And I was sitting in class a couple days later, and a friend of mine passed by and says, "What are you doing here? Everybody's over at the doing the interviews." And there were several companies on campus interviewing people for interviewing math majors, people in the math department for positions. And they were administering an IBM programmer's aptitude test. It was a logic, aptitude for logic test. And if you passed it, then you had decent grades and a decent transcript, you'd get an offer for a job that nobody had ever heard of, being a computer programmer. And so there were no degrees in computer science in those days, and no computer science majors. There were a couple computer science beginning programmer courses, and I had actually taken one, and I ended up getting several offers, and I chose one, and that was naturally I had to turn down the fellowship. It set me off on a 40-year career that was really very satisfying in many aspects, and it had so many paths that I would never have taken had I gone the academic route. And so I used the prompt was to tell that story, but also to use supplies that someone else gave you. And Scrappy Adam gave me the digital, AC Digital's collection of Chamel's Never Grow Up. And since this is about missed opportunities and so forth, I used Never Grow Up, and I used a lot of the sayings from there, the Take a Hike, Explore, and Great Big World, and Discover. But the title was perfect. What if all your dreams came true? So if my dream of going to Brown and getting my PhD had come true, I wouldn't have had James, I wouldn't have met John, I wouldn't have done all the fabulous things that I did in my programming career, my IT career, and I probably wouldn't have lived in Brussels and so on and so forth. I might have a book or two published, but who knows? No regrets whatsoever. So anyway, that's it. This is the sketch, by the way, by Kat Ronson, and She does a lot of traveler's notebook type sketches, and they're extremely versatile. I love this one. She had arrows there, but it was just perfect to kind of line up some of these strips. And I do digital very differently from most people. I don't use sophisticated scrapbooking software. I use my word processor, and I just drag the supplies in and stack them on top of one another and add outlines and shadows and things like that to give it some dimension. And sometimes I do hybrid, where I will print it 12 by 12 and add, you know, sequins and flare and other things that paste on. But this is entirely digital and took me about maybe 15 minutes to do. So, and like a good 5 of that was hunting for the picture. So that's it. That's my scrappy output for the last week and a half. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you maybe a little bit earlier with a little bit shorter video next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.